Welcome to Murphys Point Provincial Park.
You're gonna love it.
Murphys Point Provincial Park is located in eastern Ontario between Kingston and Ottawa near the town of Perth. It is located on Big Rideau Lake, which is part of the historic Rideau Waterway. It is in a heavily wooded area surrounded by beautiful lakes.
So what's happening?
So here's the registration. We are site 54, so we have to fill up. We have to go back around down the trees down there, down there, and then we come back in. We go down here and we go left. Somehow we'll get there.
What site are we?
54.
Okay. When you come into the park and you want to fill up with water, you go to the main gate, and then you have to circle around, turn an immediate left once you go through the main gate, come back around as if you're exiting. Then you'll see the sign to the trailer dump station. That's also the potable water fill-up spot. There's one hose that's threaded so you can attach your filter to it. And then there's one trailer dump spot, also with a threaded hose. This is a very tight spot. When you come in to fill up, you have to really stick to the right and make a sharp turn. It doesn't look like this park is really made for the larger trailers. The road coming in here was a little scary. It has a 30-kilometer-an-hour advisory. And yeah, I wouldn't be going much faster than that. Also, the taller trailers, they're going to be hitting some of those low branches. Not heavy branches, but they're going to be brushing along it. So this is us, Campsite 54, Murphys Point. We have a nice pull-through site here, and if you look just kind of through there, you can even see the lake. We got a path going down to it. We'll be able to put our kayaks and paddleboard in there. Murphys Point is a smaller provincial park. It has two campgrounds, Hogs Bay and Fallows. There's a total of 107 non-electric sites and 47 electric sites. This is Fallows Campground. It's 100% non-electric with 59 sites. This is Hog Bay Campground with 47 electric and 20 non. There are 14 interior sites, all accessed by boat. This is Rideau site number 402. There are 2 comfort stations with flush toilets and showers and laundry facilities. This is the Rideau Comfort Station, and there's the Fallows Comfort Station. Also at the comfort stations, they have garbage drop-off, and propane and recycling drop-off. There's one playground, and the playground is right at the main beach. There's 3 beaches. This is the main campers beach. There's a day use beach, and there's also a hike-in trail that leads to the beach at the Point Trail. Main beach is nice and sandy, and as you can see, it's groomed every morning. There are change rooms at the main beach. There's a boat launch that goes into Big Rideau Lake. When entering this little cove, if you go to the right, you're in a Hog Bay, and that is no motorboats allowed. If you go straight or to the left, you're in Big Rideau Lake, and motorboats are permitted there. Common fish to catch here are lake trout, largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, and northern pike. There's an amphitheater, a fire ring, a park store, and a visitor center. Due to COVID restrictions, you can't go into the park store right now, but they do have a service window, and everything they have in the store, you can buy right at the window. There's a total of 5 hiking trails, totaling 25 kilometers. There's the easy flat ones that anybody can do, even with mobility issues, and that would be the Lally Homestead Tour and the McParlin Homestead Tour. And then there's the more difficult ones, such as the Sylvan Trail and the Point Trail. The Sylvan and Point Trails are nice hilly trails along the shoreline, give some really nice views. In terms of cell phone coverage, I can only talk about Koodo, TELUS, Virgin Mobile, and Bell. We get service throughout the park. At the campsites, it's a limited service. We get 3G or HSPA, not a full 4G connection. So there's a fair bit of buffering going on there. If you plan on doing Zoom calls or something like that, it's probably not going to work too well at the campsite. However, if you do come to the open areas, like the main beach, you get full 4G connectivity, and you can watch videos and do whatever you need to do. There's no designated pet exercise area at Murphys Point, but there are 2 spots that you are allowed to bring your friends in on leash to go swimming. One is the main boat launch, and the other is the Noble Bay boat dock, which is the portage point from Noble Bay to Hog Bay.
This is a good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life. The roads that lay open are many when the old one's gone under the knife. And I can feel the sun on my skin, beginning to thaw from within. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon in the far. Excuses were 2 for a penny, but they've all gone out the window of this car. And when I feel the wind on my face, all that ever was is a wreck. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow.
I have a very important safety tip for the RVers out there. We were coming eastbound on the 401, and then we started heading north from there. We were following Google Maps, and at one point it tells us to go onto Narrow Locks Road to get us right up into Murphys Point. Well, Narrow Locks Road is called that because it has narrow lock number 35, which is part of the Rideau Canal on it. And the lock has a 5-ton weight limit on it, 5 metric tons. 5 metric tons is equal to about 11,000 pounds. So this is where you need to know your weights. You should also know your height. So in an instant, when you come up to a bridge, you know if you can make it or not. But you also need to know your weights. So in an instant, if you have to make a decision whether to turn down a road or not, and there's a sign that has a weight limit, you should know your weights. Well, 11,000 pounds, our truck, which is a 2016 F-150, empty, weighs about 5,000 pounds. That's completely empty without anybody in it. The trailer, which is a Coachman Freedom Express 254 DSX, the empty dry weight of that trailer is 5,600 pounds. So right there, with a completely empty truck and a completely empty trailer, we were at 10,600 pounds. Now, you put Cheryl and I inside the truck, and the cap that we put on the truck, we're easily at the 11,000 pounds, and that's completely empty. So we haven't weighed ourselves in a while, but I'm guessing we're more like about 14,000 pounds. And there really isn't a good place to turn around once you're on that road. So if you have a truck-trailer combo, unless it's really small, or you know, your minivan towing a pop-up, I would suggest you find an alternate route. Don't take Narrow Locks Road.
This is a piece of silver flogopite mica, and that's why it's called the Silver Queen Mine, because it does resemble silver.
Heading to the Silver Queen Mine.
At its peak in about 1906, there would have been 28 people working on site. Not all of them would have lived in the bunkhouse, some of them would have been local. When the cobbers were done, there would have only been about half a bucket of usable mica for every 100 that was taken out of the mine.
You whacked your head. It's kind of cool. It's just in the water here. You can see chunks of mica.
Look at that.
Can you see? Yeah. Look at the size of this chunk right down here. This is the Sylvan Trail. It's a 2.5 kilometer loop that you access from the parking lot to the Dayuse Beach. It's rated at moderate difficulty. It's a nice trail along the shore, and it's quite hilly. A lot of up and down. Really nice trail.
We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope. I need you on my fire. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much I can find my way. We got everything here, at least to stay alive, and the time
the gray rat snake. They're one of
Well,
the
that's the gray rat one.
yeah, they're one of the snakes that the park is known for. They're endangered here, and so we're doing conservation. So we have a little 10-minute program if you'd like to listen to that.
Was this one here, which was Medusa. And Medusa was adopted by a camper. And because they're constrictors, they're really strong.
We're heading to the town of Perth right now. It's about 17 kilometers north of the park.
We'll check out some shops and the Top Shelf Distillery.
We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope. Honey, you are my fire. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much I can find my way. And I saw you walking the line, and the truth may come as a surprise. That with you I feel alive.
Look, Ben, I found my store.
Last one I think about. When it all breaks down, I'll wait for you right here. And I swear that we got nothing to fear. It's a miracle that you and I are finally here. I saw you walking the line, and the truth may
Well, I did samples, and my first choice was not available anymore, so I got my second choice, which is cherry. It was really yummy. Moonshine.
the last one I think about.
We'd like to give a big shout out to our goddaughter Grace, who used to work at Murphys Point Provincial Park. Thanks for all the fabulous information. We couldn't have had as good a time as we did without all that. Thanks.
Thanks, Grace.
Now it's time for Cole's notes for Murphys Point Provincial Park. What are some things you enjoyed about the park?
Well, first of all, I gotta say, I loved this park. We are finally in our element this season. This is the type of park that we really take to, the type of park that we've been looking for all season. It has everything that we look for in a park.
Yeah, it's a wonderful family park.
Yeah.
It has the lakes for all your paddle sports, small beaches, hiking, biking, interpretive
programs.
One of the highlights was the Silver Queen Mica Mine tour. And for that, you need to pre-register at the front desk when you arrive, or you can call ahead to reserve a spot.
It's free, doesn't cost a cent, but they have limited spots available. I think maybe 30 people go at a time. Mm-hmm. So that's why you need to pre-register. Now you can do that trail, the Mine Trail, without doing the tour, but the Mine Trail, has posts that teach you a little bit about the mine, but it's not nearly as good as actually doing the tour, because the trail doesn't allow you into the mine itself, and the tour brings you right into the Mica Mine, and it is beautiful. It is really something to see inside there.
Yes, thank you, Peter, for an excellent tour.
Yeah, that was a great job, Peter. Thank you.
Some of the other things, the gray rat snake.
Oh yeah, we had park staff came around. They're walking around with this big 6-foot snake around the guy's neck, and they were talking to anybody that wanted to hear about it. And so they'd go to an area and a bunch of people would gather, and they would talk about the gray rat snake. And it's pretty common in this area, and it's kind of freaky because it's a pretty big snake, and they climb trees, and they're constrictors. So if I was on a trail and I saw one of these, I'd probably freak out a little bit. But they at least put our minds to ease that they're not dangerous to us at all.
Yeah, it was nice they were able to bring the snake around because the visitor center is closed at the moment due to COVID, but normally you would see it there.
Yeah, we've said many times that we love visitor centers and we love interpretive programs because we like to learn about the area. And with the visitor center being closed, it was great that they come out and bring that to the people. Same with the mine tour. That is great learning about the area. We love that sort of thing.
The Lally Homestead was the other one, and the
McParlin
Homestead.
Those are some,
so a couple trails.
Yeah, those are some small hikes that you can do. We also did the Sylvan Trail, which goes to the Point Trail, but we didn't do the Point Trail.
We didn't have enough time.
Yeah, the McParlin House and the Lally Homestead are very easy trails. People with mobility issues can do them. And anywhere that there's hiking or like the beach area, there's a grassy area, they're very careful to make sure that they groom it well, because this is a high-tick population in this area. So any of the hikes, they groom them nice and wide so that you're not brushing up against tall grass or other greenery where ticks like to hide and latch onto you.
I don't think we came across any ticks at all. I might have seen one inflicted off, but
we didn't really see any ticks at all. So that just shows that they did well. We never really brushed up or walked in any long grasses anywhere. Now the campground itself, it doesn't have a lot of low ground cover.
This is a very hilly park.
Yeah, so you're not going to really get it around your campsite. And as far as the campsites go, it's very hilly in here, but especially the pull-through sites and where the electric sites are, the sites are fairly level, even though it's on a very hilly terrain. And in Fallow's campground that has no electrical sites, it is very hilly terrain in there.
Very pretty, though.
Yeah, no two sites look alike. They're quite rugged and very nice. We like them.
So if you have a tent or pop-up, there you go.
Yeah. The waterways, we're on Hog Bay right here. Nice, small, little bay. We can go kayaking and paddleboarding. It will never have big waves. Nice, clear water and a nice temperature for swimming.
Maybe bring water shoes.
Yeah.
If you're
at the beach, it's sandy at the beach. We went in from our campsite. We kind of walked to the shore, and it's pretty rocky going in there.
So maybe some water shoes would be safe bet.
Yeah, but we were able to put our kayak and paddleboards in from the shore near our campsite and go paddle from there. And then if you want a little bit of bigger water, you can leave Hog Bay and you go into Big Rideau Lake. And that's a much bigger lake. It can get a little choppy. A nice canoe or kayak route is to go all around Murphys Point through a couple of bays and a couple of lakes. I believe it's a 7 to 9 kilometer route that you take going around there. And that's the type of thing that we really missed from these other parks that we were at so far this year. We really like paddling and exploring that way, exploring a shoreline.
And lastly, I think a visit to the town of Perth is a must-do for an afternoon. It's a very touristy, scenic, pretty town. There's a lot of shops. There's a beautiful park behind the main street that you should visit as well.
Has a nice river going through it.
Yeah,
it's very
river,
scenic.
Bridges, great for picnics. Distilleries. There's a few distilleries a few breweries in the area, and Top Shelf Distillery, which we went to.
Yeah, tried out some moonshine there and a couple of whiskeys.
So there's a lot in the area to do.
Yeah, overall, this is an amazing park. This is right up our alley. This is the type of camping we really like to do. So, as far as a rating, the rating is... That's right. We gave it a 9. I don't know if we're ever going to give a park a 10, because a 10 is, you can't possibly beat that. But this is pretty close to it. We really do like this park, and we think you'll really like the park if you come here. So that's our review of Murphys Point Provincial Park, and we are heading off to
Bon Echo.
Bon Echo, and we're really looking forward to that. So we'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.